wrestling fans, thanks for joining us on our very first BPW podcast. I'm Big Joe Machesko, bringing you the latest information on this groundbreaking promotion, Battlefield Pro Wrestling. The very first podcast, I do have a very special guest, the owner and operator himself, Afa Jr., will be joining us in just a brief moment on the phone. I do want to tell you, I am excited to see this take flight, folks. The roster is going to be out of this world. The action is going to be jam-packed, and you could see it all for yourself. Be a part of the very first show, June the 20th, 2015, in Broadheadsville, Pennsylvania, at the Pleasant Valley High School Gymnasium just off of Route 209. You can reserve tickets now by calling 1-855-9-BPW-LIVE or sending us an email at tickets@battlefieldprowrestling.com. So enough of the small talk. I want to jump right into it and bring Afa on the line. Afa, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Afa, thanks for being our very first guest on the BPW podcast. It's a personal honor and a pleasure to be doing this interview, so we definitely appreciate your time.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm really excited about doing this podcast. I'm really excited surrounding the movement of BPW.
Absolutely. So I'm going to jump right into it here. I mean, as a fan, we want to know a few things. Now, there are so many independent wrestling companies all over the country, and in Pennsylvania specifically, there's, I know personally, quite a few because I've gone to a lot of different shows. What is going to set BPW apart from the rest?
That's very good question. It's also a very easy one to answer. You mentioned it yourself. You said that there's a lot of independent wrestling promotions in the Northeast, pretty much in America in general. That being a problem, there's too many. There's too many watered down hobby wrestlers. You know what I mean? That don't treat this business as a business. I was raised in this business. I was born in this, and I respect this business. And they're not doing anybody any justice. The people who paved the ways for us as entertainers and athletes alike, by not taking this as serious as it should be. You know what I mean? There's too many promoters out there who always want to take the easy way out or just book their tickets. And they're putting people in the business, in the ring, in the spotlight that have no business being in there. You know what I mean? Just because they could sell, 25 tickets to an independent show. You know what I mean? Nowadays, you wrestle an indie show and it's 100 people is considered a good crowd. When I was brought up in this business, the independent scene was a lot more cutthroat. You know what I mean? There was only the good ones really survived, and they reaped the benefits. They had big crowds. They had everybody, all the good talent. You know what I mean? And all the good talent that's on TV nowadays, all were independent wrestlers at some point in their career. So I'm just trying to do the business a favor because I feel it's needed to resurrect professional wrestling as just that, professional wrestling. I'm trying to bring professional back to the business. I'm trying to show the fans that, their cries and demands have been heard. Everybody that I talk to, everybody says, wrestling's not what it used to be. Wrestling's not what it used to be. Well, it's up to us as promoters and such to give the fans what they want, and that is what BPW is here to do.
Well, that's a relief to hear. From a fan perspective, I myself, everything you said really kind of hit home with me. I do get a chance to go to a lot of independent shows over the weekends, throughout the months. And one thing that I noticed that I think you touched on is a lot of them, they feel the same. No matter if it's a different company altogether or if it's the same show just the next month, it has the same feel. And I do feel that, not a knock against them, but there is a lot left to be desired. So I'm excited for BPW. I can't wait to see this. I know I have been following your career personally for the past 17 years. You have wrestled literally all over the world. Now, what has made you want to make the transition from professional wrestler to professional wrestler / owner?
Well, 17 years, man. 17 years is a long time to do this. You know what I mean? It comes to a point where you have to see the values of things. You know what I mean? And right now I have 2 kids, and they're what I value. And I want to be around as long as possible. I want to be able to, you know what I mean, be as productive and as part of their life as possible. So I can't really be on the road full time. You know what I mean? I have to take the time and do like my dad did. You know, I'm not just a first generation promoter. You know what I mean? My father, we come from a long line, a long legacy of wrestling wrestling royalty. You know, I like to refer to us as the first family of wrestling. So growing up, just watching my dad and watching the way he did it, he was a wrestler. He made it to the top, and then when it was done, he wanted to give back to wrestling. He wanted to give back to the business because he loved the business and he felt responsible for helping the business grow. And that's where I'm at right now. I feel responsible to leave my mark in this business some way. You know, I've done it. I've given my body, my heart, my soul to this business my entire life, for more than half my life. And now I feel it's time, you know what I mean, where the wrestling business needs something to change. And I'm a talent first, you know what I mean, overall. And if I'm sitting back looking for a place to work, what am I looking for in a company? And I took all this into consideration, and that's what I built BPW off of is that core, the core values that I was raised on, as far as watching my father grow his company, and then later on my brother grow his company, and my cousin Rikishi and Reno out in the West Coast grow their company. And you know what I mean? It's just right. It's fitting. You know what I mean? And knowing what I know and knowing how passionate I am about this business, like I said, I feel it's my duty to give back to the business as much as possible. More so than just me wrestling. Now I get to give back a little bit more, you know what I mean, than your average wrestler.
Now, you know, stemming off of that question, being that this is going to be, you know, pretty much home-based in Pennsylvania, is this just the right place at the right time, or do you find something special about Pennsylvania that you're looking to, you know, really make an impact in this state in particular?
Well, Pennsylvania, as far as I'm considered, is the birthplace of professional wrestling. You know, it started, you know, in high school gyms and such, and basically what we're doing with Vince McMahon, he started the same way in Allentown, Pennsylvania, running his TV tapings at a bag hall at the Allentown Fair. You know what I mean, month after month, and then he slowly graduated to the territory surrounding it. And then boom, it blew up into, you know, what it is now. But so I'm basically just modeling after that. You know what I mean? This is the birthplace of professional wrestling. Once Vince and everybody else moved out of town, who stayed back? It was the Samoans. The Samoans kept wrestling here in Pennsylvania. We kept it strong. We kept it respected. And in a way, I feel that Pennsylvania is our territory, so to speak. You know what I mean? Everybody says the territories are dead, but I don't believe so. I believe that people just value wrestling different because there's so many different brands or independents or whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean? So this is why we're keeping it here. We're keeping it in Pennsylvania is because this is where we're from. You know, this is where it all began for all of us. I started my career, you know, in America, so, in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. You know, that was the birthplace of my career outside of Europe, but my American career was born here. I grew up here. I made a name for myself in Hazleton. I made a name for myself in the Lehigh Valley surrounding areas. It's just right. This is home, and I don't think it would be right to put it anywhere else.
Well, you know, again, as a fan, it's something I can appreciate. I know that I'm going to see a quality product on a consistent basis, and I don't necessarily have to, you know, be going out of the way to see it. It's something that's going to be, you know, good for the family, you know, more than just something to do. I mean, because as a fan, I beg, and I know a lot of other wrestling fans that I talk to is we're really missing the wrestling aspect of professional wrestling, if that makes any sense. I mean, everything, the entertainment aspect of it is great, and, it does work, but, we miss the wrestling part. And from what I can see so far, BPW is definitely concentrated on bringing that to the forefront as far as wrestling. So we have a look at the roster that you have put together thus far. A lot of the guys, like Carlito Colon, who is famed over in Puerto Rico, son of, Hall of Famer Carlos Colon, you have Tyrus, a.k.a. the Funkasaurus, Brodus Clay, yourself. You've been to WWE under the name Manu, and Gene Snitsky, who's everywhere nowadays. He's a a hometown guy, but he's appearing in movies, TV shows. He's making winning titles on the independent scene. We already know who these guys are because of the success that you guys have had. Now, should the fans get excited about some of the guys that we may not know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I base my talent roster off of just that talent. We're professional wrestlers, at the end of the day. And the guys that aren't necessarily household names, guys like the British Wolf, the guys like Brandon Scott, you know what I mean? The guys, these up-and-coming guys, they're hungry. They're very hungry. And for whatever reason, a lot of these guys have been overlooked, you know what I mean, by others. And I think it's to their loss because these guys are outstanding talent. These guys take the time, the effort to invest in themselves as a wrestler. They invest in their fans. You know what I mean? These guys are taking the time to do it right, and they're still being overlooked. And BPW is, I don't want to be like everybody else. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to reinvent the business by any means, but I just want to give the fans good wrestling from the first match to the last match. There's no reason why a fan can't come to my show or a BPW show and feel like that the very first match to the very last match, any match on the card could be a main event at any independent show anywhere. There's not going to be a slow build. You're not going to have to suffer through 2 hours of garbage just to see, you know what I mean, the guy that you really pay to see, usually when they bring in stars and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You're going to have hard-hitting action all the way through. And it's guys like the British Wolf. It's guys like Lance Onawati, my nephew. It's guys like Sean Maluta, the Prince of the Savat Kick. And it's guys like this that show their hunger every day, no matter where they are. They're coming from all over. Now, these guys, they're not just homegrown. They're coming from all over. We got guys coming from Florida. We got guys coming from Cleveland. We got guys Atlanta, Orlando. You know what I mean? They're coming from all over. Houston, Texas. These people are top quality wrestlers from around the United States that, for whatever reason, they're still available. So BPW will take advantage of these guys, and we will give them the opportunity to show their talents and show that they belong in the ring, on the same roster as guys that you mentioned before, guys like, Carlito, guys like Brodus Clay, guys like Snitsky. So, it's not, like I said, it's not reinventing the business. I'm putting hungry guys against established guys, you know what I mean? And I want to show the world that the guys that I put in the BPW ring all belong in that ring. Not a single one of them were homegrown or, you know what I mean, learned in the backyard, so to speak. You know what I mean? All these guys took the time, they invested in themselves, they went to, credible training centers, you know what I mean? They all went about this business the right way. And that's what I want to showcase. I want to showcase the guys who took the time to do it right, and this is their platform.
Absolutely. And I know, my next couple podcasts are actually going to be BPW Superstar Spotlights, with the British Wolf, Sean Maluta, Brandon Scott, a few of the guys you mentioned, among others, just to give the fans at home a taste of who these guys are before they actually make it out to the show. And that's exciting for me because I've seen a lot of these younger guys wrestle, and they really are a real treat to watch in the ring. They leave it all out there. They do phenomenal things. So, kudos to you for recognizing that and, trying to do things a little better than the average company. Now, I know that you have probably a million things to do, so I just have one last question. You know, as a fan and speaking for the fans, why should we be so excited to come out and see BPW on June 20th for that inaugural show?
Well, why should you be excited? It's this. The wrestling fans, I've always stayed in contact with the wrestling fans. Anybody who's ever messaged me on Facebook or Twitter or email or whatever, I've always took the time to at least, at the very least, respond in some way, shape, or form. So I've always been connected to the fans. I hear the fans. I hear them. I listen to them. I hear the same stuff over and over again. You think one fan that may send me a message on Facebook and he's complaining about the current day product. That's not the only fan. There's a bunch of them, you know. And all these fans that keep complaining, they're starving for something else. So, BPW, our very first event, we're giving you something else. We're giving you a little bit of a taste of the past. We're giving you some future, and we're giving you the present of professional wrestling. And, you know, and we're lining it up in a way, like I said, every match will be a main event match somewhere, you know, from top to bottom. You know, you're getting guys, you know, top of the mountain guys, Brodus Clay, Gene Snitsky, Ron Tommy Swade, Kurt Hawkins. You're getting a lot of name value guys who are going to add credibility to these young, up-and-coming, rising stars of the future. You know, mixed with the Samoan Dynasty. We have the entire Samoan Dynasty, 3 generations in the building. We have WWE Hall of Famer, my hero, my everything, Afa the Wild Samoan, as our guest of honor. It's going to be a huge night. We have my brother, Head Shrinker Samu. We have L.A. Smooth. We have my nephew, Lance on Hawaii. We have all of us in the same building. And that's only happened one time before. And I tell you, that night was very special. And I know a lot of people who wanted the opportunity to get there, but they didn't. Well, now they have their chance. And this is a very rare opportunity to have the entire dynasty in one building, as well as all the top talent from around the world in one building on one night. I mean, how many people could say that they've been to WrestleMania 1? How many people could say that they've been to the first ECW show or the first TNA show? This is the first one. You only get one first go, and this is it. And this is what BPW has to offer, and I can't wait for it. I'm excited. You know, we're doing a lot of big things. We're doing the podcast. We have a lot of interviews coming up, and you know, the sky really seems to be the limit as far as the possibilities, as far as the growth of BPW goes, because I've taken the time. My team has taken the time. We have a full staff. It's not just a one-man show. We're fully staffed, you know, and we're all hungry, eager to make BPW the next household name in Pennsylvania.
Well, I mean, that is just it's music to my ears, you know, as a fan, and being a part of BPW, it's an honor. It was, again, an absolute honor and a pleasure to get this time from you. I know how valuable it is to give us this podcast interview. So, Afa, I do appreciate your time, and I wish you all the best.
All right. Thank you, Big Joe. Good luck on the podcast, and, you know, stay tuned to BPW because we got big things coming. So join the movement, everybody.
Absolutely. There you have it, folks. Afa Jr. coming through with BPW, their very first show, coming to us live June the 20th in Broadheadsville, PA at the Pleasant Valley High School Gymnasium. If you haven't done so already, please take a look at the website, BattlefieldProWrestling.com. You can get your tickets now by calling, once again, 1-855-9-BPW-LIVE or emailing tickets at BattlefieldProWrestling.com. This is not something you're going to want to miss. Like Afa mentioned, this is the very first show. This is history-making. This is groundbreaking. Be a part of the movement. Get your tickets today. This is Big Joe Machesko signing off for BPW. I'll catch you next time.